Welcome, friends. Today we are doing another fragrance rotation video for the week ending the 28th of May 2023. Marvelous. So that is right, friends. We are back. We are back for another day, another week of fragrance rotation. Excuse me whilst I hydrate, and so early. It has been a warmer week, and some of these will reflect that. I have a first time fragrance today. Almost all of these are designers. Certainly most of them. But we will start with a niche. And on Monday, I wore Royal Oud by Creed. This is fantastic, and I want to start wearing it more. It's not an oud fragrance, it's a cedar fragrance. There may very well be a drop of oud, which would be very Creed, to put in like a smidgen of oud so that they can call it Royal Oud. But this is IFF's Cedarwood Heart. That's what this is. It's very nice. It's very well made. It's very pre-reformulation Creed, you know, pre-2017 Creed. All the 120ml and 75ml bottles are all better than the new 50 and 100ml. That's a good rule of thumb to use if you're into your Creeds. Excuse me whilst I hydrate once more. This is dry, woody, very cedary, but not pencil shavings, strangely enough. I don't get pencil shavings from it. I just get like wood. Would you believe it? Fantastic performance, to be fair. Fresh but dark. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. I really like it. Very underrated as a Creed, even though a lot of us in this community rate it. I feel like Joe Public doesn't. Do you know what I mean? Anyway, next we will move on to a celebrity fragrance, and it will not surprise you in the least to see that I wore Luciano Pavarotti. At this point, I am just wearing this once a week to get through the rest of this bottle so I can move on. I don't know how much is left. There's not much. You know what I mean? I mean, there's still a decent amount though, you know? But we won't get through it by not wearing it. Also, I'm leading up to reviewing it. So when I get to the end of this bottle, I will probably review Pavarotti if I haven't already, which I might have. I'm now starting to question myself. Have I actually reviewed this? It's possible. It's the type of thing that I would do, review a perfume that I own. It appears that I have not. And it's been a little while since I did review a perfume, so you can expect to see this one reviewed at some point in the near future. Excuse me. Right, the next four maybe. 3 of the next 4 are all designers, starting with Lancome's Trophy. This is vintage Trophy. It's in a new bottle now. Don't know how it smells, but this is tremendous. This is awesome. Got to reapply it like 4 times a day, but it's brilliant. It's green, it's mossy, it's 80s sport. That's probably the best way I can describe it. Sport in the 80s, you know? It smells like Wimbledon with really short shorts. It smells like men with mustaches smoking and then playing around a golf. It doesn't actually have any like cigarette or smoke sort of overtones apart from the oak moss. But it's green, it's citrusy, it's fresh, it smells great. I'm a huge fan of this. I bought this recently off a friend called David, who I met through Base Notes. The citruses in this are like lime and lemon. There's massive oak moss note. Not much lavender. I would say it was more of a chypre than a fougere, but yeah, there's no patchouli in it either. Very fresh, very light, a little bit floral. I imagine this is a 90s bottle, but because it's got the ingredients on the back, you know, and I'm not sure they started doing that until the 90s, but there we are. Anyway, next up is a house which defies pigeonholing, or defies, not description, but it's hard to know where to put this house, and it's Guerlain. Is it a designer? Is it a niche? Who knows? You might know. I don't. This is my favourite version of this scent. I absolutely love it. It's got this glassy, like, I know this is frosted glass on here with the ribs and stuff like that, but this version has that kind of frosted aspect to it, you know? It's got that kind of fresh, dry vetiver thing going on that other versions of this don't have as much. This is definitely my favourite version. I've smelled the one in the new L'Homme bottles. Again, it's been touched up, it's been reformulated. Not hugely, but to me there is huge differences between the different iterations, especially if you jump a generation or two. You know, there might not be much of a difference between generation 3 and generation 4, but the difference between generation 3 and generation 5 is actually quite profound. And when you've got them to compare, which I have, this is the one that I picked, you know. This is the one that I picked as my favourite. Or the one that I find most wearable. It's I could really redo that video actually. Not watch the old one and then just do it blind again, because I can't remember exactly what I said in that video. But I love this stuff. It's fantastic. It's the first time I've worn it this year, I think. And speaking of fragrances that I've worn for the first time this year, on Friday I wore Chanel's Pour Monsieur Eau de Parfum. Another fantastic fragrance. This has got a touch of, I mean, this is a chypre, but it's got a touch of that ambery fougere lavender thing going on. That's in Aberdeen lavender, and it's in Prada Amber Pour Homme. It's got this creamy, vanillic, lavender kind of thing that I really love. It's beautiful. I much prefer a creamy lavender to a powdery lavender. It's got a nice, more of like an Amalfi lemon at the top than a citric, zesty lemon, you know. And you may very well see this again. This is a lovely perfume. Yesterday I wore something which is absolutely brilliant for the heat, and it reminds me a bit, well, I suppose Trophy reminds me of this more than this the other way around, because this came first, and this is Eau Sauvage Eau de Toilette. This is I want to say this is a 90s bottle, maybe it's an 80s bottle. I think it's a 1987 bottle actually, judging by the batch code on there. Really old presentation, 5-digit batch code. Bergamot. I get huge bergamot from this. Bitter, sour bergamot. I don't get very much zest from any kind of lemon or anything like that. This is one of the greatest men's fragrances ever made, you know. Dior's answer to Paul Monsieur, which was released about 10 years earlier, I believe, made by Edmond Rudnitzer. And all the perfumers reference this stuff when they talk about men's perfumes. I remember Eugene telling the story that this is one of Antoine Lee's favourite ever perfumes. So that is Eau Sauvage. And moving on to today, we have something completely different from all these other perfumes. This is Incense Rose by Tower. I woke up this morning and just fancied wearing this. One of the first times I have worn it. And I may have this in the wrong rotation. This may belong in autumn and winter, because it's got that Tower Ard, what we jokingly call the Tower Ard, in the base. The vanilla, amber, slightly spicy, warm sort of underneath that most towers are based on. This has got, but it's got that almost mouth-numbing incense in it, but it's also got this rose. It's an outrageous fragrance. It's actually very good, but I might just be wearing it at the wrong time of year, I think. So it might have to go and live with all of its other Tower brethren in the autumn and winter rotation, unfortunately. And that, my friends, is that. This has been another fragrance rotation. This time for the week ending the 28th. We'll be into June this time next week, so expect to see some different fragrances. I will see you all then. Bye.